What's up, guys? Just wanted to talk a little bit about the latest information, the developer's diary that was released, and a couple of the things I did notice about it. So let's get right to it. Um, First of all, uh, they said there's not going to be stage racing online for these short 5% races. I like that. I like that a lot. I don't. I think it hopefully will help promote people running longer races. I hate these quick little, you know, 7 lap, 8 lap races, whatever it is. It's just a big free for all. It's just a crash derby. Everybody's trying to win because it's just I don't like it. I want to see longer races with people taking it a little more seriously, and hopefully, if they want to do stage racing, they're gonna have to run longer races. So I like that. Don't give. I'd rather keep a lot of the features out from these short little sprints. Um, I don't know how they're gonna treat the flags for that. I'm assuming they're probably gonna let you run caution flags, but I think in these short little sprints, that's going to be a disaster. You'll never finish a race. Uh, but let's see what happens. So I like the idea of no, there's not going to be stage racing as an option for the short races, right? For the longer races, yes. Another thing I noticed, digital dashboards. So I seen both types in the video, and does that mean we're going to have the ability to customize our dash, or at least select between the old analog type gauges and the digital dash? I like that. I drive in cockpit mode 99% actually all the time, right? So that stuff is important to me. So I like that. They said that the career mode has been rebuilt from the ground up. So they just abandoned the way it was last year, which I'm glad to hear that as well. It's going to be built around working your way up from the trucks to Xfinity and so on and so forth. They still haven't really gotten into details about it, so that's still something that I need to see. And as far as presentation, the only thing we've seen up to this point really is like the victory lane celebrations. We've seen little snippets of it. I gotta be honest, I'm not that impressed with it. It looks tacked on. It almost looks like something that came right out of a Eutechnics game. And they do own that. They own all of that Eutechnics stuff, and maybe they just grabbed it out of there and made a couple of quick changes and slapped it on. I don't know. So this is all speculation at this point. But it's better than having nothing. I hope there's more to it than what we've seen. And statistics, we haven't seen anything on that yet. I'm hoping that it's really comprehensive and it's broken down, and there's complete pages dedicated to stats, both on offline career mode and online. I don't want it to be some stupid little thing like the lanyard cards with the Eutechnics games with like 2 or 3 little stats on it. I mean, I'm gonna go atomic bomb ballistic if that happens, but I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I'm hoping it's more than that. So we don't know anything about that. I'd like to see that. As far as presentation and all these other things, I don't think it's a bad idea to keep some things, the smaller details. Maybe just let people find this stuff out on their own as they play the game, as little surprises, instead of just telling us every little detail. So keep a couple of smaller details just as a surprise. Let people see that for themselves. Just my opinion. I think that would be nice. And last, which is really one of the first things that they were talking about early in the video of the developer diary, is how important it is to them to hear feedback, and how they're paying attention to social media and the people that play this game and their feedback, and how much they want to try to develop this game around what people are asking for and the things they want. So these are things I've always wanted to hear, and we are hearing it from these guys. Yeah, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You don't know how much of it is BS and how much of it is honest. But I got to be, honest myself. I honestly do believe them. I think it's important to them. I think they get it. You know, the fact that they've added so much to this year's game, or they've announced that they've added all this stuff, it's a big deal to me. This is a big departure from things we've seen in the past. So I like what I saw. I mean, this is the first developer diary that I'm excited about. Like, I didn't care for last year or anything we saw from Utechnics. It was all like a lot of BS, a lot of promises, no delivery. So I like what I saw, and that pretty much covers. Also, I forgot to mention we're seeing a lot of the Eldora, the dirt track, the trucks racing. It looks cool, to be honest with you. It looks like fun. It's one track out of the whole circuit. I'm sure a lot of people are going to play the shit out of that for a while. But, I think people are making more out of it than it is. It's, like I said, it's one track out of the whole game. But it does look exciting. I do look forward to it. As far as physics and graphics, let's come to the realization that, this game is going to look and feel, in terms of physics, it's going to be like last year's game. If you notice a difference, it's going to be very, very small. Okay? Graphics are not going to be dramatically improved until they rebuild this game from the ground up. That's not going to happen anytime soon. And I'm telling you now, that it's not even going to happen next year. I'm 99.9% sure, because it doesn't make sense that they would invest this much resources into building this game. And as bad as last year's game was, and it was bare bones, but it was still a core build. They invested in it, and now they're building on it, which is the smart business thing to do. You don't just abandon an entire project and start from scratch. That's not smart business, and I don't expect them to do that. So I like that they're building on it, and I did say before that there is potential to build on this game if they do it right. And so far, it does seem like they're taking the right steps. So don't expect a full rebuild of this game, at least for maybe another 2 years. And I'm just making, assumptions. I could be wrong, but, they invested a lot, and they're going to just keep building on this. Now, that being said, I don't think the graphics are terrible. I think they're serviceable. They're adequate. That doesn't mean I don't want to see better graphics. I do. I want to see games that compete with, like, Project Cars and Forza and even Assetto Corsa, games that look really good visually. And I think a NASCAR game should be able to do that at some point. It should be able to do it now, quite honestly, but it is what it is. They chose to build this game this way. This is the way it was rendered. It's not terrible. Okay? It's not mind-blowing, but it's not bad. I can live with it. If everything else works the way it should, you're going to have a good time. And the physics, yeah, I would like to see a little more realistic physics, but they've made it clear that they don't want to go too far in the simulation direction. Honestly, I'm not in agreement with them on that. I don't like the fact that they're trying to appease, these casual arcade type racers, and at the same time people who want hardcore. You got to kind of pick a lane, in my opinion, if you want to truly succeed. And you pick a lane and you go there and you give it your all. They're trying to appease too many people. That doesn't mean this won't turn out to be a decent game. So I'm rooting for them. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that they can achieve that. But physics, they're going to feel, I think, almost exactly like last year. Except for maybe Trucks and Xfinity. I'm sure they did some tweak to it to give it a different feel. And they have mentioned that before, that they should feel a little different from each other. I wouldn't go in expecting a lot. So, if last year's game if the graphics and the physics were a deal breaker for you, like you can't live with it, you're not going to want this game, you're not going to like this game, right? If that's where you are. But if you're like me, that stuff for me is adequate. It worked fine, okay? I do want them to improve it, but it's not a deal breaker for me. Like, I could still have a fun, enjoyable race if everything else is fixed, alright? And the graphics, for me, not terrible. So I can live with that for now. So that being said, that pretty much covers what I saw in this video. And once again, I like what I heard. I like what I saw. I like where everything's headed, the direction. And I'm excited to see what else is out there in terms of information and stuff. And keep a few things, the smaller details. You could keep some of that don't tell everything to everybody. Don't reveal everything. Leave just a couple of small details as a surprise. When you play the game and you could see it, oh, this is cool. I didn't expect that in the game. I'd like to see a little bit of that. I think that's always something that people enjoy. But these major things, I do expect to see a stat. You know, how are these stats going to be laid out? How is it going to be implemented throughout the game? And maybe a little bit of presentation. I do kind of want to see, you know, I haven't heard anything about pre-race, post-race, but I do hope they address some of that. And maybe even show us how the setups page is you know, set up. So there's a lot I have to say about all that stuff for future games. But right now we're focused on this game and what we know so far. What do you guys think? I liked it. I like what I saw. I'm excited. And I can't wait to see what else is in store. I think my next video is probably going to be a prediction video. I think I'm pretty much getting a good grasp of what we're going to get. And there's still a couple of small details for them to reveal, but I'm close. I think the next video I release is going to be straight up prediction video, preview, so to speak, on what to expect. So I'd like to see what you guys think of what we saw today. And I guess until there's more information, I'll see you guys around.